Alrighty, I have got this with me. It's my morning cup of coffee. I have got a feeling in me about star seeds needing to convey some very important truths that are going to become activations for those who listen. And that is what today is about. It's about the star seeds. I want to talk about what they are. What is a star seed? Because we use the same word oftentimes with different understandings and different meanings associated with it. So we're going to level the playing field with that one primary understanding of what a starseed is, but then we're going to talk about the two primary directives of the starseeds and one true danger, one very real danger that starseeds need to be aware of. And in talking about this very real danger, it is going to assist the starseeds in traversing right through it and breaking through what could have been keeping them stuck. So do stay tuned for that. I'm going to put it at the end of today's video. Let's start with what it is. What is a starseed? Much like light worker, people say, well, what is a light worker? Am I a light worker? A light worker is anyone who works with or aligns with the light. Simple. A starseed, there's a lot of confusion here. And the confusion is this. Beings remember, they have an inner memory, not a memory in the brain, but a memory in the being that longs for, almost like a homesickness. It longs for and it yearns for another place that they can't quite articulate, that they can't quite name, but the memory exists inside of them and it calls them very loud, very strong, won't leave them alone. And it says, you come from another state of being. So you can see why the confusion exists. Oh, I come from another place. It's not necessarily another place. It's another alignment. It's a higher dimensional awareness or a higher consciousness. Remembering higher doesn't mean better. It simply means a different frequency. But the starseeds will long for their natural state of being, which is going to be more harmonious, more aligned, more heart-based. It's going to be more inclusive. It's going to be kinder, more sovereign, more respectful of others. So that longing for that alignment creates a searching, creates more than a yearning. It creates an impulse within the starseed, which is a signal that they are receiving from the cosmic field, telling them to blossom and bloom and step into that yearning, longing, desperation very often that the starseeds feel. So it's not necessarily another place, it's another way, another state of being. That is the true longing. Therefore, a starseed could be a being who has been on earth for so long that they remember the original Eden. They remember the original blueprint of earth. Not necessarily out there. It's an in here. It's a longing for that inner alignment. That is the first directive of the starseed. The first directive of the starseed is to bring home here. Those three words, bring home here. They're very powerful. Because what they mean is the starseed is not here to travel out and go back home. Most starseeds have this thing. I just want to go home. I just want to go back home, which you can understand because the longing, the homesickness, to be around people who understand you. That in itself would be heaven. Certainly for the starseeds. So the directive of the starseed is to reconnect with that memory in the body. To remember, to reignite that memory, which is a living vibrational field in the body, and to anchor it, to ground it into the body and therefore into earth itself, which does what to earth? Of course, you already know the answer. If enough starseeds bring home here, bring home into their bodies, that is going to create a ripple. Because something you must remember about energy is that when it's really dense, it sinks like a big blob, drops to the bottom of the ocean. That's density. That's the feeling of density. It's literally, if you could see energy, density literally behaves that way. It is like a blob and it plops down. But high frequency energy behaves entirely differently. It is a ripple and it vibrates out and it's not contained or congealed. Density, you always feel stuck, don't you? When you're feeling very dense. There's a reason why. When you feel lighter, you feel more open, you feel more free. Those are the ripples of high frequency consciousness, and they emanate and they radiate. So you don't emanate them and radiate them. This is organic and natural. This is just the nature of high frequency energy. It travels. And there is a profound wisdom in anchoring home into the body. You see, the reason that starseeds incarnated to this plane in the first place is because they realized very, very quickly that here on planet Earth, if human beings don't see something, can't touch it, can't interact with it, that it's not real. So what human beings tend to do is they tend to dismiss the guidance, the love, the connection that they might feel to non-physical beings, because there's a lot of guiding beings that quite literally surround our reality. But human beings either can't see them, interact with them, or can, and then start bringing it in through a distorted lens and kind of messing up and mistranslating the guidance that they're getting. So the starseeds were a faction of non-terrestrial beings who said, well, that's not going to work. They also looked at humanity and said, wait a minute, these guys are really stuck. They are really properly stuck. And because of that, the starseeds knew that they had to come in as human beings. They had to come right into the center of reality if they were going to have any impact. It couldn't be from the outside. It had to be from the inside, which meant losing your memories, because that's part of what occurs as you're born into planet Earth. A severing occurs. The crown chakra is severed from the connection to source consciousness, which puts everything out of alignment. And in that disconnected state of being, starseeds feel lost, they feel confused. Most often, the starseeds elect to undergo trauma and traumatic experiences. Why? Because they need very quickly to downgrade their frequency, because they need to blend in, they need to fit in, they need to act human. So not only is it a forgetting of where they've come from, if it was just that, it would be a lot easier to remember, because the yearning would be what guides you home. So the unplugging, the disconnectedness compounded with trauma, that can definitely do some damage. That can put starseeds into a very difficult place. As soon as they reconnect with their directives, that starts to lift and they start to break through the story. So, second directive. The second directive of the starseeds is to remember who they are in human form. As they remember who they are, now this includes moving beyond their stories, because we all have a story, don't we? We have a story of our human journey. And if you think about it, the story of our human journey in terms of the infinite beings that we are is not even a drop. It's not even a drop in the ocean of our infinite consciousness, but we attach to that drop and we rehash those stories and use those stories to define us, even using our astrological sign. Look at how that defines me. Look at how my name defines me, or even my race group, or my starseed group, even for those people. So in other words, labels and stories become definitions, and they're the starseed. And not just the starseed, but any human being who gives themselves a label, even if it's a well-meaning one. I am a being of light, I'm a being of love. What you're doing when you're labeling yourself is you are restricting yourself. As a being of infinite potential, you are creating restriction with any kind of label. So, and also with the attachment to the story that that label is about. So the starseed remembering who they are is really about breaking free from the confines and the restrictions of whatever defined them before. As they awaken, as they remember who they are, and again, it doesn't have to be in the brain, it's in the being. As they bring that reconnection in, their body serves as a template, a blueprint for other bodies to align themselves with. Again, it's the story of the ripple having so much power, so much impact, so much effect. So the starseeds understood this. They were beings of higher consciousness. So they understood that their mission was not necessarily I'm going to come in and show the humans how to do it, but rather I'm going to come in and do it myself. And in doing it myself, I'm going to let my body serve as a lighthouse or a beacon that will ignite others, not do it for them, not indoctrinate them, not tell them, hey guys, this is the right way, the only way, but this is a way. This is a way. And even better, no words. Even better, something that is undocumented and unwritten, but lived fully. That's the power of the starseed. Now, you might say, but Kiri, you're using words. Yeah, I absolutely do. But those people who I truly teach, which are my online community where the real teachings occur, a lot of those teachings are in meditation and activation. A lot of those teachings are in pure silence. And the core structure of those teachings is you are coming home to you. Not to my words, not to my teachings, not to Kiri, but to each individual to come home to themselves. This is the second of the Starseed directives, to remember who you are in human form. And if you make that your only job, and if you make that your purpose, because so many people are out there going, what's my purpose? What's my purpose? Thinking it's a thing or a doing thing. It's a being thing. It is a remembering thing. It is that alignment. The moment you become the memory of home, embodied, the moment that happens, you begin to erode that which is false. Because why? You become what is real. You don't change reality. You become real inside the false reality, which causes the false reality to disintegrate right before your very eyes. So this, Starseeds, is why you do not need anybody's disclosure. You do not need anybody's action. You do not need a spacecraft to land. You do not need humanity to wake up. You only need, let me repeat this, you only need to be the truth of who you are fully. That is going to bring me right into this hairy, scary danger that I spoke about earlier. Do you remember I said there's a danger of being a starseed? Because a starseed is a potent, powerful being. With great power comes great responsibility. Now you might think, I have an idea what the danger of a starseed is. And I'd love to know in the comment section, what do you think that is? Maybe you're going to come up with something that I haven't even mentioned here that I should do another video about. So tell me if you think of something other than what I'm saying. The danger of a starseed is not waking up. Because kind of like, if you were a farmer and you had, and by the way, I do hope you do have your own veggie garden at home. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. This is a very important thing to do. If you were a farmer and you had seeds and you were sowing the seeds, you're going to factor in the fact that not every single seed is going to germinate. It's just the nature of nature, right? Not every single seed is going to germinate. And the craziest thing is some seeds do germinate and you think, how? I forgot to water that patch, or I don't remember planting there, but there's a seed anyway. Very similar to the nature of starseeds. So you might think the worst thing that can happen is that a starseed doesn't germinate. In other words, that they don't return to the memory of who they are. Awakening can happen literally in a second, literally in a flash. This is often what we refer to when we talk about the great solar flash, the great ascension wave. That possibility of instantaneous awakening is so high, especially for a starseed. So no, the danger of them not waking up to their purpose is not really a danger at all. The greater danger is this. It's them getting stuck. Because remember, their mission is, there are those who forgot that they have forgotten, the human beings. A lot of them are loved ones from other planets and other places, and you needed to come in and give them a good old-fashioned wake-up. So the ones who forgot that they forgot, the ones who are stuck, who don't even know that they're stuck, because you're not going to ask to get out of somewhere you don't know that you're stuck in. So the starseeds who joined the ranks of those who got stuck and forgot, but then only partially woke up. In other words, they got stuck in a partial awakening, which is really me saying to you, they got stuck in their ego, because that's really what a partial awakening is. A partial awakening is when a person starts defining, getting very definitive. They start saying things like, this is going to happen. This is how it is. This is, and how do you, for example, How do you know that there are 7 chakras? Have you felt each one? Are there 8? Are there 27? Are there 63? How do you know all of the things that you speak about? A lot of the time, starseeds, spiritual people, wanderers, light bearers, light workers, whatever you want to call them, a lot of the time they are regurgitating what they've heard from others because it sounds right and there's a resonance there somewhere. This is a partial awakening. A full awakening is when you speak only of what you have experienced, not what your brain knows, what your beingness knows, which would mean for most people, 90% of what they say would need to not be spoken. The danger of bringing people into partial awakening, because remember, a starseed is so potent and so powerful. They are very magnetic. They draw a lot of people to them. So the danger is here they are awakening. They are going to attract people to them, whether it's a large social circle or a large following. They're going to attract people to them and they're going to sit there underneath a ceiling. Because now they have things that define them. They have labels attached to them. They might use fancier words and not even call them labels. But it remains that the starseeds who reach that ceiling will lead others to that same ceiling and thereby prevent ascension from happening. Because remember, the whole thing that the starseeds are doing with all of these directives is bringing humanity to the ascension line fairly, because so much injustice has occurred on this planet. The starseeds came in and said, well, let's remedy that. Let's come in from the inside. There's nothing that says we can't do that. That is what the starseeds did. Something I didn't really expand upon is the trauma of the starseed. You know, the starseeds undertook a very difficult path. And when somebody's undertaken a very difficult path and gets locked into their suffering, their trauma, their pain, and they use that to define themselves, justify themselves, defend themselves, when they use that story of their trauma, they can become very destructive. And remember, the ego, we talk about the ego as if this is the ultimate bad guy. You know, you got to banish that thing. The ego is only your woundedness. That's all the ego is. So the partially awakened starseed is the starseed stuck in the story of their woundedness. They've allowed it to define them, which is understandable. This is exactly what the human journey is about. We will all have gone through phases and stages of allowing the story to define us until we dare to go beyond the ceiling, the stuckness, into the true unknown. That ultimately is the remedy for the starseed, is can you allow yourself to go to a place where you don't have the answers? Can you allow yourself to go to a place where you will be humble and simply sit in the I don't know? In the I don't have the solutions, the answers, in the just surrendering to, in the being with that humble, unknown place, that is going to catapult you out of the story. That's going to catapult you out of the ego. That's going to start to heal the ego, because the ego is not here to be banished. It's here to be transformed into the light body being, the true, authentic self. If you feel called to remember the truth of who you are, to go beyond the ceilings, beyond the threshold of where you think spiritual people can go, then do join my online community, because that is exactly where we go into the truth of who we are as the individual. And that journey into the truth of who you are is the reason why you came. As I end today's video, I'm going to leave you with another one. This is a must watch for all starseeds. It's going to bring you into activation. It's called Your Love, the power of your love. And it's about remembering it. The important thing is this: you forgot how powerful and impactful your love is. So go ahead and listen to this. It's taken from a snippet of a conversation that I had with my online community. And just that little snippet is going to give you so much. Lots of love. Bye-bye for now.